What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. We're going to have Tim Ord on today. Voice still a little shaky, but we're going to get through it. There it is. I mean, this market is down to, we almost hit the first circuit breaker. Almost 6-point-something% earlier today. Come back up, maybe on, some short covering. I mean, the long story of this entire thing is we're not out of the woods. We're just not. Beyond the tariffs, which actually obviously do have an effect, and what Trump says, of course, can have effect as well. You have a vast weakening of the dollar right now, strengthening of the Japanese yen as they sell off our treasury bills to get liquidity, they strengthen their yen. There's some, that's what can drive a lot of stuff, right? And I really want to get Teddy Keckstad on so he can enlighten us a little bit more on that. Of course, he was joined by Tommy yesterday for the morning market kickoff, so you can check our YouTube channel, Tiger Financial News Network, out. You can check out that interview that they had. But there's some significant problems, I think, that still exist. And I'm looking at my VIX calls, and I mean, your SPY's coming down even further right now. Your VIX is up 42.53, quite a swing today. Of course, we are lower, at least on the VIX, than we were earlier today, about 52.29, I believe was a high there. And so that's where I stand at, right? I am not trying to really predict the price, at least for calls or puts on any equity, but the volatility is still absolutely going to be there. This is a big liquidity problem that I think we're experiencing, Then the news comes out, which in theory can kind of alleviate some fears of illiquidity. They're increasing the debt ceiling. And that kind of makes sense, right? So I don't know if we're going to see a bunch of reissuance of short-term debt like you're kind of seeing under Yellen. Most likely, interest rates will stay somewhat elevated. The near term is just too uncertain. And even with the cooled CPI, which is nice, this is some legit deflation we're seeing, the Fed is still erring on the side of caution, and I don't blame them, because it's fully unclear what is going to happen, with these policies, number one, and then how these policies even manifest. So very hard to try to bet this, and so I don't blame them kind of taking an easy side. Additionally, something that I think demonstrates fear on the near term, you obviously have gold rallying up quite a bit. This VIX is moving right now. Gold is rallying up. I think there is a massive dash to cash that you're seeing. Give me a second. I think we're getting a call too. Tim Ord will probably be on next break. Man, what did I want to say about that? I heard the ringing on Skype and completely forgot. Long story short, you're seeing a massive kind of dash to cash right now. The fear of inflation is still there. Oh, the 30-year. You had great demand for the 30-year auction today, and I saw a lot of people online saying, well, this is good. Why are the equities still going down? And it's like, when you have that massive demand for something on the far term, I mean, that's a flight to duration. That means the uncertainty is still inherent in this market. I do not think that bodes well for just equities in the meantime. Now, when you're getting some major flows like this, I mean, one of the things you are starting to see is, basically what's massive short covering, where you saw yesterday, right? Now, of course, there was Trump talking about, hey, we're going to push back the tariffs, and that might cause some kind of overreaction and buying to the upside, although the conditions still aren't very good. But, that can also be used as a way to kind of short cover, if they think it's going to, push equities up. So, one way that you could play is trying to buy some, you can even scalp the calls when you're getting massive days selling off like this. Hold it for a little bit. You get absurd rips, 20% to the upside. We saw 10% of the upside of the SPY yesterday. Sell off because, believe me, the lower prices come after that, right? And I don't know. This is just such a wild market, and it's never as simple as it seems, right? You don't get these massive dump-offs. And I haven't heard many people in the den say this, but I mean, again, one of the problems, and I had been arguing with some of my friends who were trying to buy in, like, right here, was like, man, your relative point of reference is this. I mean, that isn't one valid in my opinion. I think it was total exuberance to the upside. You're having issues with the yen, which is going to cause sell-offs in the market. You had the Treasury basis trade, which is very tough. You're seeing a lot of liquidation of Treasury, and that is destabilizing. And then that forced Trump's hand yesterday, essentially. I mean, there's a place that it could just blow up, and he had to step in and do something, right? Now, my point thinking with that is it couldn't have just been retail buying yesterday because the move was so insane, right? And of course, it's relative to what has been trading at, blah, blah, blah. But if there were any massive institutions getting into that point, I mean, they are using everyone as exit liquidity because I don't know why you would want to, and again, if you're holding these things on a long term, if these are long-term funds and you don't care portfolios, then probably okay time to add into some equity, at least get a little bit of exposure, But if these are more short-term things, the uncertainty is just too strong. I mean, it's getting to a point where I'm not even doing options on equities. It's just basically the VIX, and it's so absurd. That's good stuff. Post on Zero Hedge was moved in the last 2 hours. Rumor out there, Fed working on a hedge fund bailout, $2 trillion. I mean, that was almost like the bailout yesterday with him saying that. Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's crazy. And they just increased the debt ceiling, which again is to be expected. There was no way they were going to be able to not do that and reissue in June. Now, again, I don't know what goes on from there, and that does resolve some fear of like longer term illiquidity in the world or just a readjustment to a lower amount, but it's pretty insane stuff. This is a wild, wild, wild market. Folks, that's right, JP. Folks, you sit right there. We'll be right back.